Long ago, in the mighty land of Egypt, a group of people called the Israelites were living in deep suffering. They weren't visitors or guests. They were slaves, trapped under the rule of Pharaoh, the powerful and stubborn king of Egypt. Every day was the same. Wake up to the crack of a whip. Bend your back under the hot sun. Build bricks, haul stones, build cities for someone else's glory. And as the years passed, their hope began to fade. But even in their pain, they didn't stop praying. They called out to God with tear-streaked faces and weary hearts. "Lord, rescue us." And God heard them. God had a plan. He called out to a man named Moses, a shepherd, living quietly far from the noise of Pharaoh's court. Moses wasn't exactly superhero material. He had run from Egypt years ago, and he wasn't sure he was the right guy for the job. "I don't speak well," Moses said. "What if they don't listen to me?" But God simply replied, "I will be with you." With God's strength and his brother Aaron at his side, Moses returned to Egypt and stood before Pharaoh. He declared with boldness, "Let my people go." But Pharaoh? He laughed. "Who is this Lord that I should obey him?" And he made things even worse for the Israelites. But God wasn't finished. To show his power, he sent signs, plagues, one after another. The Nile River turned to blood. Frogs filled every house. Gnats, flies, disease, hail, darkness. Egypt groaned under the weight of God's warnings. Still, Pharaoh's heart stayed hard. Finally, God said there would be one last plague, the death of every firstborn in Egypt. But he gave the Israelites clear instructions to take the blood of a lamb and paint it on their doorposts. That night, when the angel of death passed through Egypt, it saw the blood and passed over those homes. That moment, Passover, became a sign of God's mercy and protection. And finally, after that devastating night, Pharaoh had enough. He called Moses and said, "Go! Take your people and leave. Freedom, at last!" The Israelites didn't waste a second. They packed what they could carry, clothes, cooking pots, maybe a pet sheep or two, and rushed out of Egypt. After centuries of slavery, they were finally walking out, heads high, hearts racing, toward a new beginning. Little did they know, the adventure had only just begun. As the Israelites marched through the desert, they weren't alone. God led them, a pillar of cloud during the day and a pillar of fire at night. Not just symbols, but his presence, guiding and protecting them. It was like having a divine GPS system, always showing the way. They must have felt hopeful. They were free, finally. No more chains, no more whips, no more Pharaoh. But back in Egypt, Pharaoh was stewing. His anger grew hotter than the desert sun. "What have I done?" he cried. "We let our slaves go." So he gathered his army, hundreds of chariots, thousands of soldiers, horses thundering through the sand. The most powerful army in the world was coming to drag the Israelites back. They had just set up camp near the edge of the Red Sea. Maybe some were cooking dinner. Others were watching their kids play, finally smiling after years of fear. Then, someone spotted it. A dust cloud in the distance. The sound of wheels, shouting, armor clanking, Pharaoh's army. Panic spread fast. "We're trapped." In front of them, the deep, impossible sea. Behind them, Pharaoh's furious army. They turned to Moses and cried out, "Why did you bring us here? Were there no graves in Egypt? Did you drag us out just to die in the wilderness?" Fear makes people forget. But Moses stood tall. He looked at the sea, then back at the terrified people and said, "Don't be afraid. Stand still. The Lord will fight for you today. Just watch." Then God spoke to Moses. raise your staff over the sea. Tell the people to move forward. Wait. Forward. Into the water? Moses took a breath. He lifted his staff high. And then, the winds began to blow. Not a breeze, a roaring, rushing wind. The water began to move, first in ripples, then in great waves, pulling back, stretching wide, until there were walls of water on both sides. And in between, dry, solid, ground. The people stared in awe. And then, slowly, they stepped forward. Thousands of families walking into the heart of the sea. Dry, safe, surrounded by the miracle of God's power. Children clung to their parents. Sheep bleated nervously. But the path was clear, and they kept walking. Behind them, Pharaoh's army charged into the sea, determined to catch them. But once every Israelite had stepped onto the far shore, God told Moses, "Raise your hand again." Moses obeyed. Whoosh! The waters returned, crashing down like thunder. Chariots were swallowed, horses vanished. The waves rolled back into place, and the sea was still. Not one soldier remained. Silence. The people stood on the shore, soaking wet with wonder. They had just walked through the sea. Pharaoh's army? Gone. Their chains? Broken. Their fear replaced with awe. Then, from the crowd, someone began to sing, and another joined. Then more. Soon the people lifted their voices together in the first worship song of their new life. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. The Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. They danced. They sang. Even Miriam, Moses' sister, picked up a tambourine and led the women in joyful praise. God had done what no one else could. He didn't just lead them out of slavery. He led them through the sea. This story is more than just a miracle. It's a message for them and for us. Sometimes we find ourselves standing at the edge of our own Red Sea. Problems behind us, no way forward, fear closing in. But just like then, God sees, God hears, and God makes a way. Not always the way we expect, not always easy, but powerful, perfect, and on time. So when life feels overwhelming, when fear creeps in, remember what Moses said. Don't be afraid, just stand still. Watch what God will do. He hasn't changed, and he still parts seas. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the Red Sea. If this story encouraged you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Bible stories made simple, powerful, and real. And remember, when there's no way forward, God can still make one. See you next time.